Oh wait, I see something. Let me refresh. Okay, alright, we're back. Alright, sorry about that, guys. But we're back. You definitely missed quite a bit here. So Joe is in Thieves Town. I'm pretty sure this didn't pick up, but Joe got the hallway dash, which is this hallway right here, where you can stand at a very pixel-perfect spot in the middle of the room. There's only one specific spot that you can be in when dashing to the hallway. And not only does that require precision, but it also requires good RNG, because sometimes the enemies can be in the way of your dash, and then you have nothing to do about it. So one of the extra items that's not needed to go through the game, which would make the run easier, is that's actually, I don't know if that was intentional or not, but Xanadu bonked right there and to avoid the bird. I'm not sure if that was intentional but it was cool. But yeah, a couple items that you can go for still, if you're a new runner and you're looking to play the game and learn the category, is you can go for half magic, a bottle, net, powder. But these guys are really good that you won't see them take advantage of any of that. The only safety item that you're gonna be seeing both these runners take advantage of is the Sanctuary Heart Container, because it's a really nice racing safe item, aka tournament safe. So Joe had a pretty nice blind fight. It didn't go too terrible. Xanadu is making his way to back to Kakariko Village. Ooh, the enemies keep getting in his way. Yeah, that's something that happens occasionally, which you can't really do much about. Also, use the flute on the left side of the statue, so then the bird can leave the screen earlier. The chest that Joe is going for, if you skip the blue boomerang in Hyrule Castle, you get the red boomerang in here, which is the upgraded blue boomerang. It has longer range, it throws faster, but it lags because of the sparkles that comes out of the boomerang, which is why we go for the blue boomerang instead of the red boomerang. In low percent, you kind of skip that chest completely because you don't want to get a boomerang at all in the category. Whoa, that was rather interesting. What happened on Xanadu's side? Accidentally hit the tree. Some of the trees on Dark World shoot out bombs for like no particular reason, and it's really dumb. Alright, so Joe's getting the Temper Sword. It's not needed to beat the game, but I mean, Trust me, you do not want to go through the game with just a Master Sword, because it is a major pain in the butt to do that. Makes a lot of dungeons harder with the Master Sword. There's another sword upgrade that that you can go for, which is the gold sword, which is the strongest sword upgrade, but that one actually requires you to go way out of your way to go for. So you're not gonna see that at all. Maybe in 100%, but this is not 100%. I'm sorry. All right. So in Skullwoods, the third Dark World dungeon. It's a pretty confusing dungeon. There's a lot of ways you can go about here. It's really meant to confuse some of the casuals. But we know the fastest way around this place. Now, I wasn't paying attention, but I think Xanadu got the hallway dash, or did not. But we'll see. Here's the next bomb jump right here. That saves you. So normally, if you don't want to go do that, if you don't want to take advantage of that bomb jump, you would have to fall in the middle of that 3x3 grass, and then fall, and then like bomb a wall to the left from the start of that area, and then pull a switch, and then it'll take you to and then it'll take you to the fire rod chest. So this is where half magic is somewhat useful in here. If you're a new player and you're not very conservative with your magic, then half magic is definitely the key. But of course, that requires you to get powder in order to actually go for that. Very nice try right there. What you saw is hit the mummy to the spikes, and it'll do some damage to the mummies. Can we change it to 100% right now? That would be actually really nice. I would love to be in a 100% tournament. Okay, that moth fight did not go too out of hand. But basically the way that works is you can't hit Mothula over the spikes, otherwise then he takes 0 damage for whatever reason. Uh-oh. This is looking bad. Yeah, so oh. It looks like Xanadu decides to forfeit. Oh. Man. Oh man, I'm about to sneeze, but I'll try not to. Anyway, so after that misfortune, Joe's making his way to. He's now going to get the flippers. So yeah, he's going to go get the flippers, and then he's on his way to Ice Palace. Now, the reason we do the dungeons in this order is because it makes a lot of the other dungeons easier over the other. While it does seem like it's harder, but it's really not that bad once you do the dungeon order enough times. Anyway, so yeah, it's not. We go to the 4th dungeon, Thieves Town, after Dark Palace, because you want to get the Temper Sword as early as possible, because it makes a lot of the other dungeons easier, especially dungeons 2 and 3, which is Skullwoods and Swamp Palace. Now, technically, you can fake flipper your way to Ice Palace, but no matter what you do, you're going to have to go for the flippers anyway, because there's no other way to go through Swamp Palace without flippers. Unless you use certain glitches, but I mean, that's not allowed in a no major glitches category. So here we go, you need 500 rupees, which is probably the most expensive thing you need to pay for. In order to, yeah, that's probably the most expensive thing in the game that you have to pay for. Also, it's important to not take damage on your way to Ice Palace. Ooh, Joe almost did. Yeah, you don't want to take damage on your way to Ice Palace. It's not a big deal if it happens. You just won't be able to do some cool strats in Ice Palace. So, a lot of people are probably gonna hate me for saying this, but Ice Palace is my favorite dungeon in the game. Ice Palace has a lot of cool things. It's probably like the coolest dungeon in terms of design. But I don't know. A lot of people that I've talked to who've played this game seem to really hate it. I don't know why. I mean, I could probably understand because there's a lot of floors and there's a lot of puzzles. And, oh my god, that was rather interesting of what happened on Joe's side, but whatever. Here's another really cool strategy. He intentionally takes damage in that hallway just so he can dash that hallway. Now, by having that switch up, this completely breaks the whole dungeon. You get to skip basically half of the dungeon. This is the biggest time saver in the whole run. It's so huge that you would reset the run if you don't get it. Because normally the way you're supposed to go you're normally supposed to go through the dungeon with the hook shot. Unless you want to hover throughout the whole dungeon, which, I mean, who does that anyway? So you skip a lot of the puzzles just from doing this. So you get like a total of 2 keys. You get that big chest right there contains blue mail, which you will not see throughout the run. I don't actually think you're gonna be seeing any suit upgrades at all for Joe, considering how good he is at this. So here's a cold stare. What you want to do is you want to have full magic coming into this fight because it takes 8 fire rod shots, and your full magic contains 8 fire rod shots. Uh-oh, this is scary. Oh my god, that was scary. Okay, he pulled through just fine. But yeah, cold stare is really hard. Is probably the hard part about skipping blue mail in this dungeon because um, the game intends you to have blue mail. So this dungeon and onwards, if you're assuming you're going for the dungeon in order, we'll do 4 hearts of damage. But they well, a maximum of 4 hearts of damage. But yeah, a lot of the enemies will now do a lot of damage because you're just expected to have blue mail. Also notice that this is the first Dark World dungeon, or this is like the only Dark World dungeon where you don't go for a big key at all. Pretty cool. One of the only boss key skips in the game. So now he's making his way to Swamp Palace, which is the second dungeon. Now saving Swamp Palace up until now makes a lot of the dungeon really easy, because you now have a lot of equipment, you have a lot of hearts, and so Swamp Palace is just really easy to go through. In fact, Swamp Palace in general is just really easy and straightforward. It's just go into a room, hit a switch, raise the water level, and do all that. That's actually one of my favorite strategies in the game right there. That does require some luck with those spiders. Those spiders have to cooperate in order for you to actually pull that strat off. But when you do that, it's a really awesome strat. Love it. This dungeon really does take advantage of how useful it is to item dash. Saves just a little bit of time. It's not really too big. I mean, if you're going for a run where you don't take advantage of any of the tricks that are exclusive to Japanese 1.0, then you can still get a really good time. That's assuming well, yeah, a good player can easily get a good time even without Japanese 1.0 tricks. Ugh. So yeah, there's a lot of little RNG involved in Swamp Palace, and it's hated by a lot of speedrunners for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, there's not a lot of interesting stuff going on in Swamp Palace. There's not really a lot of major sequence breaking here. It's just very straightforward. You can technically leave that switch on for a shortcut into the next room, but if you go deeper into the dungeon, you're gonna realize that it's not useful at all, and you have to go back and hit the switch again just so you can actually progress. Also, another thing in the Japanese version is when you're falling, you can still get hit by stuff while you're falling down a hole. And in Skull Woods, if you're falling down a hole, you can still get grabbed by a wall master. So it's fixed in every other version. Also, another thing that works against our favor in the Japanese version is the coding's kind of screwed up on the chess game, where you can't really get it on your where you can't really get the chess game heart piece on your first try. But I mean, not a lot of people run 100% because of two factors that determine the run itself. Oh, Joe taking quite a bit of damage from that red guy. Except those arrows. So Joe got my favorite item in the game, the hook shot. I love using the hook shot, even casually, because you can grab things from long distances. It's much more useful than a boomerang. And you go really fast with it. Oh, you can also do super speed with the hook shot, which has an easier method because all you have to do is item dash with the hook shot. So here's Argus. Joe is not going for the zero cycle strat. Basically, what you can do is you can use the hook shot. You can item dash, and then have your sword out, and then your poke damage, and then the game just thinks that you're infinitely dashing, and then you can just kill all the puffs in one hit just from poking. Pretty easy to zero cycle that, but I mean it's super hard to do. Oh, another thing that's not mentioned a lot in these matches is that it's important that you complete every dungeon with as much hearts and magic possible, because you lose a few frames for every time the game has to refill your hearts and magic. So, I mean, that's a little bit of time loss for every time that happens, but. Okay, alright, sorry about that. For some reason I got disconnected. I had a little bit of a connection issue, but alright, we're back. Anyway, so Joe is now in Misery Mire. It is my least favorite dungeon in the game. I hate it with a passion. When the game expects you to have blue mail, and the enemies do like so much damage, especially the boss itself. So you want to have as much hearts throughout Misery Mire as possible, otherwise you won't be able to do a really fast strat on Vitreous. And the strat that we use on Vitreous is extremely risky. Also, what you saw Joe did earlier is if you're moving the block, you can actually shoot the fire rod through the block as it's moving. And that's not really a glitch or anything like that. Something you can actually do, and it's really easy to do. Coming into Mire with the hook shot makes some of it easier. Of course, you don't need the hook shot in order. Okay. Yeah, see, this is a reason. Yeah, so with the hook shot, you can grab onto that block. It makes it easier to go through that hallway. Without the hook shot, it's still possible, but it's a bit of a tighter window to start your dash. And of course, you would go for Mire before Swamp if you're going for the gold sword and silver arrows, which in this case Joe is not going to be doing that because it takes a lot of time to get the silver arrows and gold sword. Assuming that you do everything optimally, then it saves time. Okay. So what Joe did right there, he intentionally used all of his bombs just so he doesn't have to menu to the fire rod and it's already onto his fire rod. If you have the powder, then it doesn't matter, because the powder is the next item after the bombs. Alright, here we go. See how he does it. Oh, no. Yeah, that's the risk that you take right there. Now he has to go through this part of the dungeon again. Oh, no magic. That's bad. So you lose quite a bit of time if you die to a boss, depending on how long the dungeon is. So here's a new route for Misery Mire if you die. Okay, so the rest of this, so it's not really much else to say since all it is now is just making its way back to Vitreous. But basically, the way that strat works is you don't want to get hit by any of the eyeballs at all. Otherwise, then you are taking a lot of damage because the eyeballs do 4 hearts of damage. Vitreous himself also does 4 hearts of damage. The lightning attack does 2 hearts of damage, and you don't want to get hit by the lightning attack either because this strat requires a lot of intentional damage. Alright, he's coming. Alright, so he lost 4 hearts again, so we'll see how he does it again. See, that's the risk that you take. You sometimes the eyes can hit you. Okay, there we go. Okay, much better. Yes, that is true. Blue Lionel, the game does expect you to have blue mail, which is why Vitreous does a lot of damage. Especially the next dungeon coming up, which Joe is on his PB video right now, but of course you guys can't see that, so it doesn't really matter. So he picked up Ice Rod earlier, so he doesn't have to go back. So he doesn't have to go and get it again. You don't lose too much time for, or actually, it doesn't really make a difference on when you actually get some of these items, because either way, you're gonna have to flute to them anyway. It's just sometimes you lose like a few frames over the other. Something. I don't know. This game's kind of weird in doing that. In determining which is faster and which is not faster. Okay, his Death Mountain RNG didn't go by too terrible. Oop, bonk. So yeah, it's not the first time that this happens for runners, where they have really, where they don't have really good runs with this game because this game is extremely brutal and a lot of little things like what happened at to Xanadu. It's not the first. It is not uncommon at all. It happens to a lot of people, and that's just how the game. That's just how the game is. It's a very hard game. It takes a lot of guts to play well, especially this category. This category is especially unforgiving. It takes a lot of guts to, especially in a race, to do this. So definitely go check out Xanadu. Here's a cool strat that you can do with the hook shot. If you you can't get hit when you're using the hook shot, which so you can take advantage of that and use the hook shot as the logs are about to hit you. 100% races are pretty common. I mean, 100% are 100% races are pretty fun to do casually. It's not a lot of people really do a bunch serious attempts of it. I think I'm like one of the few who actually do. Because 100% is my favorite category of the game. There was a 100% race last night at midnight. It was me and somebody else. I forget his name, but it was fun. So this is where the game really picks up. Well, yeah, this is where the game really starts to get extremely hard, because almost every enemy in this dungeon will do 4 hearts of damage, because the game really expects you to have blue mail. I know that's cold, forgetting my opponent's name, but I'll figure it out eventually. I did follow his stream last night after the race, so I'll figure it out. 100%. I would recommend 100%. I don't know. People like to go for no major glitches because it's a more common category. But I mean, I'd say 100% because it's easier to do. It's an easier run to do because you have a lot to survive with. Because then you actually have every single item to work with. Just so you can figure out which items you're comfortable with and which items you're not comfortable skipping. And that's just my recommendation. It's really all by preference on what category you want to start off with if you want to learn the game. So anyway, coming up, is where the game intends you to have the mirror shield, but yeah, with a precise dash, you can dash through the laser, and not get hit by the laser at all. If you're not comfortable with skipping or with the rest of the dungeon, there is a bombable wall below that room that you can take, which is what we commonly refer to it as the safety exit. Just so then if you die, you will start right there, and you're actually just a couple rooms away from the boss anyway. So it's a really nice safety strat to go for if you're not comfortable with this dungeon. Another strat that you can go for is the mirror shield way, where you can start halfway into the dungeon if you're not comfortable with the second half of the dungeon. But I mean, the second half of the dungeon is really too hard. Nice! I love that fight. So yeah, you can, so that fight was pretty straightforward. Ice Rod on the red head, Fire Rod on the blue head, and then the second phase, which is the more easier, phase. So with Gold Sword, you can hit Trinex 3 times per head. But it takes 5 hits with the Tempered Sword. Alright, so now we have the hardest part of the game, Ganon's Tower. Fun to do casually, but there's a lot of really annoying stuff here in this dungeon. Alright, so with all the 7 maidens, you can open up the 8th dungeon, Ganon's Tower. So the good thing about the way we route this is we don't have to go through the right side of Ganon's Tower. Imagine how much more of a pain in the butt this dungeon would be if we had to go to the right side. Because in on the right side of Gan's Tower, I don't exactly remember what it contains, but I believe there is a really hard torch puzzle, a wall master. Really, all I remember in that side. I don't even know. But that room is so hard. That's all I'll tell you. And we don't have to go through that side at all. So the keys that you go for in this dungeon is really all your preference. It doesn't really, you don't lose it. They're all basically, I believe they're all just the same time. Like, you don't lose any time over the other on which keys you get. Whoa, Joe almost took a fall. So yeah, Gan's Tower is a really cool dungeon, just from watching someone play it perfectly. Okay, now Armos Knights is pretty much the same because he doesn't have silver arrows. But this time you're fighting him on ice, which is a little bit harder because he's slipping all over the place. He's definitely easier, and Armos Knights is definitely easier with the silver arrows because you can beat every single one of them with one hit. So, interesting strategy from Joe, but it works. Alright. So those two rooms did not go by too terrible. Ooh. It's a little dangerous going through that hallway while those spikes are still up there. Ooh. Thought about dashing through that room, but took it back immediately. So here's the gauntlet now. You have to fight every enemy for like the next 5 or so rooms. And then the gauntlet continues after like after a refight. And then with a bit of a tricky puzzle to Joe switches to the fire rod. He has very little hearts. Gonna have to take the rest of this dungeon pretty safe, unless he wants to go all out. Unless he wants to continue to go all out, and he got a 1 cycle. That's very nice. So yeah, Ice Rod or Fire Rod, you can beat both those Landmos with two hits per Landmo. If you have the silver arrows, you can beat them each with 1 hit. The silver arrows are just super powerful. But unfortunately, silver arrows just cause a lot of lag if you use them. It's important that you don't fail this puzzle too many times. Otherwise, you're coming in here with otherwise, you will not have enough magic. Uh-oh. Okay. By the way, if you go through that, if that door closes at the same exact time that you enter that next room, then all the sprites despawn, and you can't complete the rest of the dungeon if that happens. Okay. Picks up that final magic refill. Now for the final Moldorm refight. You technically don't have to fight Moldorm unless... well, yeah, you technically don't have to fight Moldorm if you hover. But... I mean, who does that, really? It saves 6 seconds if you get first try, but it's super hard to do. And it's ridiculously stupid. Whoa! Got some bumper strats going on here. Uh-oh. Okay, yeah, he's good. Alright, so Aghanim is pretty much the same. Except with Aghanim illusions, which then you can beat him, which I guess it's easier. So just like the first Aghanim fight, the real Aghanim has a guaranteed energy shot on the first hit, and then every other attack he does is a 50-50 chance of a blue ball and is a blue ball or an energy shot. But of course it doesn't matter because then you don't have to. Yeah, it doesn't matter because then you can just use the Aghanim illusions for their. Sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought there. But anyway, Joe is now on his way is now fighting Ganon. Takes 12 hits per phase. And he has to be very careful because he has 2 hearts. I'll be really impressed if he manages to go for... If he manages to do a no damage run on Ganon. Which he should be able to do, knowing how good he is at this game. Okay, so the game intends you to have gold sword and silver arrows, but there's another way around it. Ooh, all these warps here. Oh, risky, but he pulls through just fine. All right, so if you light the left torch before the right torch goes out, then the right torch never goes out for the rest of the fight. It saves a lot of magic, and then it'll make this fight a lot easier. That's only in Link to the Past 1.0 and 1.1 version of basically every version of Link to the Past. And you have 2 frames right before Ganon teleports in order to hit him. But there we go. Joe's done. 129.09. Very, very good run. I think the only major mistake that went on throughout the run is his death on Beatrius, but other than that, he is real. That was very, very good. Sorry, Xanadu, for your loss. But it looks like now Joe is going to be making his way to on second chance round 6 of the bracket, where he'll be fighting ACMLM, who has the world record of the GBA No Major Glitches category. So I'm definitely looking forward to that match. So stick around. Up next, we have on 3 p.m. Eastern Time, coming later today, we have Xanadu versus Addy. So be sure to look forward to that, which is in a couple hours from now. Yeah. So, all right.